Hugh!
Oh, it's you! What do you want?
I was wondering if you had any special ways to get stronger?
Any what?
You know, like skill enhancements.
You mean like a patch?
Exactly, like a patch! Ladies, gentlemen, and tarnished of all ages, when it comes to the weapon in your hand, one of the most fun things you can do in Elden Ring is the weapon skills themselves. Many weapons have unique skills, and many others exist in the game that can be picked up and then applied to a variety of weapons in the game. We all use weapon skills in varying amounts in our gameplay, and today, on this glorious day of patching, FromSoft has buffed, well, a whole lot of the Ashes of War in one way or another. Essentially, most of us just got stronger for doing nothing. For some of them, the effect is relatively small. For example, Sacred Blade now casts slightly faster than it did before. This isn't massive in the grand scheme of things, but it does change the pace of using it in general gameplay, and it keeps it in line with a ton of other weapon skills that got their cast speed increased as well. Put simply, there are 60 weapon skills that got changed in some way, shape, or form, and I'm going to do my best to succinctly list what has changed for each one, as well as point out any that matter in a particularly larger way than the others. First off, the real simplest list. These are all the weapon skills that got an increase in cast speed and no other buffs. Kick, the kicking skill. This one is noteworthy because it actually makes it more usable against shield users. Gravitas. Sacred Blade. Sacred Ring of Light. Poisonous Mist. Chilling Mist. Both of the mist ones have actually been increased in speed quite a fair bit as well. Assassin's Gambit, Shield Bash, Last Rites, unique skill of the Golden Epitaph, Mists of Slumber, the unique skill of the Sword of St. Trina, which is actually significantly faster and makes an already great weapon even better. Unblockable Blade, specifically when used with the Coated Sword, Death Flare, the unique skill of the Eclipse Shotel, Regal Beastclaw, the unique skill of the Beastclaw Great Hammer, Devourer of Worlds, the unique skill on the Devourer's Scepter, Bloodboon Ritual, the unique skill of Mogwin's Sacred Spear, Miquella's Blade of Light, the unique skill of the Halo Scythe, and then finally, Bear Witness, the unique skill of the Grafted Dragon Weapon. Every single one of those has had their cast speed increased to varying degrees, which is why a lot of these categories are cast speed increased and something else. Moving on to the next category then, which are cast speed increased and a decreased recovery time, letting you do new actions even sooner after completion. Lion's Claw, this one was already great, but now it's just faster to start up and faster to finish, so it's just even better. Like, the speed of this one almost feels like you hurt yourself performing it. Horalu's Earthshaker, Poison Moth Flight, Blade of Gold, which also has a reduced stamina cost, and then also Blade of Death. Both of these projectile firing daggers were alright beforehand, but an increased cast speed on a range skill definitely ups their usefulness overall. Wolf's Assault, the unique skill of the Royal Greatsword, and then finally, Cursed Blood Slice, unique skill of Morgoth's Cursed Sword. The next set got increased cast speed, of course, and then also a decreased stamina cost for using. Troll's Roar, but the cast speed only on the follow-up attack for that one, as well as the follow-up now traveling actually a little bit further in the animation. This attack was already quite strong, but now it is even safer and faster to use. Shield Crash. Magma Guillotine, the unique skill of the Magma Worm's Scale Sword, which also got a recovery speed boost on the follow-up attack specifically. This one was already good in PvE, but now maybe even better. And then finally, Nebula, the weapon skill of Bastard Stars. A few attacks that actually notably got a whole new hitbox as a part of them as well, these being Black Flame Tornado, which now deals damage with the spinning part of the weapon itself. As well, the Stomp of the Lightning Slash skill now actually has a hitbox on it. The same effect has been applied to Ice Lightning Sword as well. Unique skill of the Dragon Scale Blade. As well, both of them have had cast speed buffs too. Ice Spear, the ranged ice throwing skill, has a hitbox on the weapon spinning up animation itself now, so if someone is right next to you while you are throwing it, you can damage them too. Some weapon skills have been granted a window that you can roll out of using them to cancel the animation. These include Alabaster Lord's Pull, which also received a cast and recovery speed buff, the Queen's Black Flame, which received no other buffs but honestly didn't need them as the weapon is already great and now has a safety boost as well, Onyx Lord's Repulsion, which also got the cast speed and recovery buff, I Command Thee, Kneel, the unique skill of Godric's Axe, which also got a cast speed buff for both inputs of the attack. Familial Rancor, the unique skill of the family head's flail, Sea of Magma, the unique skill of the Magma Whip Candlestick, and then also Flame Dance, the unique skill of the Giant's Red Braid, which has gone from being incredibly dangerous to quite safe as a result. On top of this, the Flaming Strike Ash of War got an increased range on the follow-up strike, and the Eocade's Dancing Blade, both on the Straight Sword and Great Sword versions, now has a longer range, as well as a new window to roll and cancel the animation when the sword returns to you. This one is a really big deal. These weapons were already good, like in fact they were great. The skill itself was sort of bonkers good, and now it's just even better. The range is longer and you aren't locked into the follow-up slash upon the weapon returning anymore, which obviously was a big downside before. The following group all got lower FP costs and increased cast speed, including Gold Tempering, unique skill of the Ornamental Straight Sword, which now also has a lot longer duration on the weapon buff itself. Gold Breaker, the unique skill of Marika's Hammer, which also received a buff to recovery time, making it a bit more usable. Wave of Gold, unique skill of the Sacred Relic Blade, again with a recovery speed buff on top. And then finally, Frenzy Flame Thrust, which did not get a cast speed buff, but still got the lowered FP cost along with a buff to recovery time and also a lower self-inflicted madness buildup on cast, allowing you to actually full-on spam it a little bit better. And the weapon was already more than good, so yeah, another proper buff to a weapon that didn't really necessarily need it. And then before we get into the properly unique buffs, let's talk about the sad grouping that got no cast speed buffs at all, but at least got a little bit of other attention, right? Following with simply a lower recovery time and nothing else, being Giant's Hunt, Storm Assault, Roses' Summons, Regal Roar, and Spear Call Ritual. And then these ones had their stamina cost reduced, but nothing else, Dynast's Finesse, Flowing Form, and also Storm Kick. Past that, the remaining changed weapons all got some relatively significant stuff going on. These are the ones that will probably make the biggest waves in the community as people adjust to what has gone on with them. The Carrion Greatsword and Carrion Grandeur skills, forming a giant magical greatsword on the end of your blade and then swinging it. This one now has a faster cast speed, quicker recovery speed, and increased damage and stagger when properly charged up. Establish Order, the unique skill of the Golden Order Greatsword, got a cast speed and recovery time buff to the follow-up attack, as well as a significant damage and stagger increase to the actual wave of energy itself. This one may be a bit of a big sleeper pick to mess around with. It could totally be worth focusing on now with these increases. Moonlight Greatsword, the Ash of War for the Dark Moon Greatsword, now has a lower FP cost, a quicker cast speed, and recovery speed, and as if it wasn't strong enough already, it also builds up Frost buildup faster when the buff is applied to the sword now. The weapon was already incredible. Now, again, it's just better. Ancient Lightning Spear, the unique skill of the Bolt of Gransax, now has a lower FP cost, quicker cast speed, and also has gained hyper armor in the actual attack itself once the bolt is formed in your hand. This makes it way more usable as a proper weapon, even though it wasn't bad beforehand by any means. And then finally today we have the Great Serpent Hunt, unique skill of the God-Devouring Serpent Hunter Spear, weapon used to cheese Rykard, and not much else. This weapon has had a recovery time buff, as well as a damage buff to the weapon skill, and also has gained hyper armor on the weapon skill itself. This is unlikely to find use outside of the Rykard fight in general, still, as it's not quite balanced to be used normally outside of that room. However, what this change definitely does is make the Rykard fight even easier as a whole, if it needed to be. And that just about covers it. The 60 changed weapons in Elden Ring. Some highlights of weapons that I am certain will come out of this patch feeling extra good, and honestly, just so much more testing to do. They changed 60 weapons. It will be a while before we're done combing through it all to find what they've made genuinely worth using now, because I would bet it's a lot more than you think at first glance. I hope you're all enjoying this magical time as much as I am and enjoying shopping around for a new favorite weapon skill. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.